think the first thing that we focus on as planners is we want to really build out those retirement projections for
Yep.
clients. So if you think about that, we're looking at, things like income. We're looking at liabilities. What do you have going out the door? We look at what do you have saved? So
Mhm.
do you have retirement money saved? Are there things that we need to do to kind of get you to where you want to be as far as your retirement time frame?
Yep.
So when I sit down with clients, the first thing that I want to look at is what do we have right now? Like
Mhm.
what do we have coming in? What is our cash flow? And what do you want your retirement to look like in the future? So, do we need to save a little bit more money in certain areas? Do we need to try to budget a little bit better? I know you kind of talked about budgeting already, but what are the things that we need to focus on to be able to get you kind of over the hump to that retirement timeframe that you're looking for? So we want to build out those projections for clients and actually show them this is what your retirement looks like right now.
Yep.
How do we get you there? And I think the second component to that would be the investment piece of it. And anybody who's watching this video is probably here because you may either have a retirement plan or you're thinking about setting up a retirement plan. The investment component of this is huge. Like this tells us, how much do we actually need to save to kind of get to where we want to be? What is our allocation got to look like, right? So what allocation do we have, and what risk tolerance do we need to have? What breakdown do we need to have as far as stocks versus bonds? Are the investments that we have currently, are they working for that plan, right? Are they working in the right way? Are there some changes that we need to make the plan work the right way? And going back to those retirement projections, what do we need to do savings wise to actually get you over the hump and get you, to where you want to be and get you to that retirement time frame? We want you to be able to reach your goals.
Dan,
So
I want to add
yeah,
something that you've
go
been
ahead.
saying with these retirement plan projections. Financial planning is not a one size fits all. So there's no video that Dan and I could make that would be the perfect formula for you and a significant other, your family, to say this is the silver bullet to a happy retirement. It's really understanding what retirement looks like for you, your lifestyle, the things you want to be able to do, and then look at the tools that you have available to you. Social Security. Most people watching this video have access to it. One of the big questions in financial planning is when should you claim it? When is it right for you?
Yeah.
That is what we would consider a complex, simple question. That is not a one size fits all. You should take it as soon as you can, or you should wait as long as you can. It really is dependent upon your unique situation. What if you have a pension or a spouse that has a pension? How does that factor into it? Because what you're talking about in these first two core pieces of cash flow, or what is left every month after we've paid our bills, that is your cash flow. It could be positive. Sometimes in seasons of life, it can be negative, depending on life is getting away from you. So if we have extra cash, how do we use it? And when that time comes, that next chapter of your life where you're no longer receiving a paycheck, how are you going to use the income sources to be able to supplement the lifestyle you want to live? And between your Social Security and your potential pension, is that enough to satisfy what you're going to need in retirement? Or do we have to use part of the investments to really offset the difference? So it cannot be a one size fits all, but a good place to start is to start to gather those documents, which are going to reveal to you SSA.gov, Social Security Administration. Go print off your statements, create that username. This is just a technology tip for you. Get that username on there so nobody else can mask as your identity. Head to SSA. If you have benefit statements, start collecting those. Do you have a 401k plan at your current employer or simple IRA? What about previous employers? Did we leave all of our money there? How is your spouse money set up?
Yep.
Just the simple fact of gathering all of these statements is step one. Because Dan, as we've met with people over the years, when you have people come in, it's not surprising that you have people opening unopened envelopes for the first time, kind of giggling or feeling embarrassed that they haven't looked at this stuff. So when you're
Yep.
talking about retirement plan projections, you need to really understand your life, who and what's important to you. What does all this money mean? What are we leaning towards? What about health history? And that kind of goes into risk management here. So once we've kind of figured out those two components, and I'm a big component for financial literacy, when we say allocation, the only thing that means to us is what is the mix of stocks to bonds to mutual fund? How is our money currently invested? And the big thing that we say all the time is every investment that you have has to serve a purpose.
Yep.
If you just own stuff for the sake of owning stuff, there's no shame in that. But this is a great reminder that you can always schedule a free discovery meeting with our team as part of your annual review to go over how you're invested. But then when we talk about risk is kind of one of those words that people like life insurance, right? Kind of, sort of. Why don't you talk to us about when we say risk management? What do we mean?
Yeah, and that's really kind of like the third piece of this. When we talk about risk management, we look at, we're planning for the things in life that kind of don't always go as planned, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, there's things, you could have, what if your spouse passes away early?
Mhm.
What if one of you it becomes disabled or loses your job, loses your income?
Yep.
Kind of planning for those things that really you can't really plan for. So I know that maybe sounds like a double negative, but it's, we're trying to put things into place for situations that arise that we really can't plan for. Like, what are those what if scenarios? What if this happens? What if that happens? Like you mentioned, do you have, insurance? That's a big piece of it. Do we have life insurance? Do you have the right kind of life insurance? Right. So having life insurance, you may think, oh, I'm great, I have life insurance, but do you have the right kind? Do you have enough? Disability insurance, things like that. We always build out long-term care scenarios for clients, especially, for clients that are getting into retirement or in retirement. And, they may see their parents going through this right now,
Yep.
long-term care scenarios where, they're, we can build out those expenses for clients and say, this is what it would actually cost you, if you ended up in a nursing home for a year or 2 or 3 years. Do you need long-term care insurance? Do we look into that? So it's really, when we look at risk management, it's like, let's take a look at, kind of building out those what if scenarios for the things that happen in life that we really can't plan for. I'm continuously shocked at how many people don't really have these documents created or haven't really planned for this.
Mhm.
When we talk about estate planning, we're talking about your wills, right? What do you, like you just said, what do you want to have happen to your stuff? We're talking about beneficiary designations, even just on a 401k or a life insurance policy. Do you have your beneficiary designations? Are they up to date? Or
Yep.
do you have this going to the person that you want it to go to?
Yep.
And in estate planning, it's the rules change on these things too, as far as, inheriting money and beneficiaries inheriting money over time. So we want to make sure that we're always making sure that we're up to date on, not only beneficiary designations, but making sure that your will is up to date. You had mentioned power of attorney. If you need somebody to make financial decisions for you, if you're incapacitated, you would need a power of attorney documents. Many people don't have those. Healthcare proxies to help you make healthcare decisions if you're unable to do so for yourself. These are just some of the documents that we go through with people. We don't draw up the documents ourselves, but we help essentially create an outline for each of our clients to say, this is what you need. And you can bring this to an attorney to help you actually draw up these documents so that you don't have to sit down with an attorney and spend hours and hours doing that. We do that with the clients because we know their entire situation. Like we've kind of talked about, those retirement projections into the investments, into the risk management planning, it all ties together, and it all ties together into the estate planning as well. So we know our clients, situation, financial situation, family situation, inside and out, and it helps us to be able to draw up those documents for people.
Yeah, and I
Um,
want to park there for 1 second, Dan, because in
yep,
years of experience, it's never really been our case that some world catastrophe has derailed somebody's future. It's they didn't do the little things that they had the ability to control when they could have controlled it, and they just
yep,
didn't do it. As a little estate planning 101, most people don't realize that they'll say, I have my spouse in my will as everything going to them. But did you know that your beneficiary designations supersede what's in your will? So if your ex spouse or your brother is listed as your beneficiary in your 401k plan or your simple IRA and you pass, we would love for that will to catch the fact that you want to name the love of your life. But who's ever listed as that beneficiary designation is going to take first place. That is shocking to most people. So I would encourage you, even right now as you're watching this video, pull up your account, look at your beneficiary. If you have nobody on file, please get somebody on file. But also make sure the people you have listed are the people you want. Then when you talk about, like, why do I need a power of attorney? If you have an IRA and your spouse has an IRA at a financial institution, a Charles Schwab, a Fidelity, a Principal, you both have IRAs in your name. You as the spouse cannot call up and say, hey, I want to talk about, in this case, Dan's account because his name is on it, yours is not. If he is ever in a place that he can't access his money, without that power of attorney, no financial institution is going to talk to you, even though you're married to your significant other. You need to have these documents on file. I think, again, as a warning, you don't want to necessarily just go to any attorney and say, hey, I need some estate work, because you don't know if what's being offered is really in your best interest. So as Dan and I said, you want to make sure that the things and the people you love get the things and, the assets that you want to go to them and avoid probate.